check out that sweaty, shiny glow. It's really, really hot in Michigan. So that rhymed. Today I want to talk about happiness. Yay! Like my favorite thing to talk about. I was talking earlier this summer about learning more about CPTSD and adult child syndrome, and I'm doing that. I'm reading the big book for ACOA, if anyone's just diving into this, or not wanting to read that whole entire big book. I recommend, once again, Jody Lamb's 7 Things That Changed Everything. Really comprehensive, nice, quick read, but I'm reading the big book. Tangent, oh my goodness, wow. However, most of what I consume, most of what I digest, philosophical, intellectual expansion, involves happiness and resilience. So I'm gonna link a few things down below that I really recommend and just kind of tell you guys some of the things that I've been learning. Enough babbling, let me share my resources with you. I have one that I really want to share with you in particular, and that is a video, an excerpt from Joe Rogan Experience podcast when he interviews Naval something. I'll put his name right here and I'll link it in the description box down below, and I will also link the video at the end of this video. So watch this video first and then check that one out. I highly recommend it. Every single word from beginning to end I support and I resonate with. There are 2 really potent mic drop things that this guy says. One is that a healthy person wants 1,000 things, 10,000 things, I don't know. A sick person just wants one. When you're sick, you want to get healthy. And what I took from this is that, of course, another thing that he talks about is how craving, desire, causes suffering. And so just kind of focus on what you want, and don't like need everything. Just focus on what you really want. If it's happiness, focus on happiness. Yay! Look what I'm talking about here. Right. I am going to loop back around to that in just a second. But another mic drop thing that this guy says is every man has 2 lives. The second starts when he realizes he has just one. And I think that's really powerful, because once you realize that life is short and there's some sort of inherent will to enjoy it that you can discover within yourself, it can really transform your life, how you perceive your life. Because I don't know, maybe your life's not going to change, but if you change, everything else kind of does change. Looping back around to figuring out what you want, I've been studying people like Tony Robbins, and he says sometimes we're just asking, the guy says a lot of things, he does, but one thing that he says is maybe you're asking the wrong questions. So figuring out what it is that you want, take that and dissect it, and then with every question that you ask yourself, come up with an answer. And if that arises any other question, get more detailed. Ask a question about that and then answer that. And then eventually, through asking all of these questions and figuring out really what it is that you're aiming for, finally the last step is coming up with a plan. Moving right along, I've been studying really old, ancient seekers like Buddhism, Taoism, and Hinduism. Buddha was kind of the first guy, one of the first guys that talked about how desires lead to suffering, and how in life everyone gets sick and gets old and dies, and there's like anticipation of that happening, which causes suffering, and then the actual that happening in other people, and that's suffering, and like life is just, well, not a good place. But then he also came up with this philosophy on how we all live many lives and we're all connected to each other and everything, and that kind of aids in providing hope to the whole despair situation. But I feel like that's diving into the spiritual end of this conversation, and I don't want to get too deep into that because I don't want anyone to be turned off by spirituality, because maybe you're not a believer, and that's fine. Moving on. Hinduism. I studied the Bhagavad Gita, And what I took from that was many things. But the biggest thing was that Arjuna, I think that's his name, he's this prince talking to Krishna, this god that he doesn't know is God at first, and he sees what he has to do, and he's sad about it. He's like, I don't want to do this. But the god was like, it's all happened in the grand scheme of things, again getting spiritual, predetermination, and it is meant to happen, and you are meant to play your role, your dharma. We all have a dharma, we all have a duty in life, and it's very important that we do that. No matter how insignificant things may seem, at the end of the day, it's very important that we all connect and we do what we feel we should do. In Arjuna's, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, in his case, he's a warrior and his duty is to kill people. And he's like, whoa, like I really don't want to do this. There's not pleasant things about this. And the god is like, well, life's not always pleasant, but it's very important that you do what you ought to do. Personally, sometimes making these videos is very challenging. It challenges parts of myself that I'd rather just kind of ignore. But I know at the end of the day, it's for the betterment of myself and hopefully you, hopefully others. I trust that it is, and it feels like my dharma. It feels important. Something I studied in the most depth was Taoism, and mostly the parts about Taoism that encourage going with the flow, intuitively being guided in each moment, not looking forward and being anxious about that like little piglet, but more so being like Pooh, being unassuming, not letting the Eeyores get you down. I'm talking in Pooh character terms because I read the book by Benjamin Hoffman, I believe his name is, called The Tao of Pooh and the Tay of Piglet, the der. Again, I link them down below. I don't have affiliate links, but gosh darn it, maybe I should remake this video when I can get those things. I am purely telling you that I like this stuff because they have these things have changed my life. They really have. And if you're at all interested in going down this whole philosophical seeking, this pathway to hopefully happiness and some sort of enlightenment, I recommend all the things that I am recommending to you in this video. I'm going to assume that unfortunately most people who don't watch this video are actually going to read the Tao of Pooh. So going through the other characters, Pooh, unassuming, does what he can to help out, tries to have a good day. Piglet's like, why? Like, why should we go around and tell everyone hello? And Pooh's just like, because it's Tuesday. Let's just go wish everyone a happy Tuesday. Honestly, I try to adopt that way of life. It works sometimes. I'm still on this like kind of cyclical nature of like finding myself in this depressed state every like few weeks, and I'm working on it. I guess it's getting better. It's like a muscle. Happiness is a muscle. Work it. Work it. Okay. Pooh characters. Sir Tigger. He is like so excited, such an excited guy, and he starts projects and he like is like, I can do that, when in reality he can't do it, and then it ends up turning into a big problem, and he starts projects really excited and then he just forgets about them. He's like the average American, I think. Calling you out. Then there's the rabbit, and he like will jump in to a conversation and hear that someone's talking about the uncarved wood or something, and he's like, the uncarved wood, I'm gonna go get it, and he jumps away without waiting to hear Robin, what's his name, kid, person, whoever, say it's not an actual thing, it's a concept. I'm trying to explain it to you, but he jumps off too fast. He's just busy bee rabbit. Doesn't have time to breathe, doesn't have time to think, doesn't have time to listen to anybody. Yeah. And then there's the owl. An owl is like smart, right? Only he's not. He reads books, and that's where his knowledge comes from. But he doesn't experience life. He doesn't learn through experience. And sometimes he's not smart. He just makes himself sound smart. It's like this front, this facade. And people sometimes poo, so poo, you know, gotta be a little bit more discerning, just a little bit more discerning. You gotta realize, like, maybe these people who sound so smart aren't actually as smart as they seem. I'm dropping bombs of knowledge on you guys. Do you feel that? Do you feel the rumble? Another resource that I'm just going to throw in here because it did help change my life and see things in this like really bright and full of possibility and opportunity sort of way is the book You're a Badass by Jen Sincero. This book came into my life in so many different ways. There was this YouTube person that recommended it, and then I went to ACOA meetings and they're like, someone gave me this book who was like came to these meetings and then they died, and now I'm just going to pass it around and throughout the group. Really powerful stuff, and I'm like someone who's like, wow, that's weird, like I'm gonna grab onto that opportunity. That seems like, I don't know, morbid and strange, I know, but my cousin I think recommended the book to me. I feel like it was just a book that I was meant to read, and if I can pass it along to anyone else, I'd be happy to do so. There's also an audiobook free on YouTube, so listen to it. However, a lot of these books and these things that I'm telling you, every single line can be super transformative and like so full of meaning that it like, ooh, it's a lot to process. So all of this stuff, it's stuff that I've been in the thick of for a long time, and I'm just sharing it all with you at once. So yeah, whatever you feel like in your heart spoke to you, that's what I recommend starting with. Go learn just a little bit about that. But first, please watch that one video go watch that one video that I told you to watch at the very beginning. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching the whole thing. Not everyone watches the whole thing. And I feel like by the end of the video, I just have so much appreciation for you. I want to always give you guys some extra love. So thank you so much for watching this video. Now, please stay tied to your phone, to your laptop, to whatever, and watch the next video that I recommend here. I'll talk to you soon.